All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And today's update is going to be all about one single subject. And what do you guys think it is going to be about? Let me guess. Oh, yes. The one and only savior of the DC Universe, none other than James Gunn himself. All right, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and want me to talk about this subject. And it has been about 24 hours since this subject was broached. And I will tell you that, yeah, in fact, this information is true. And we are going to take a look at some of the comments that James Gunn has made in the past on Facebook in regards to DC. And specifically, my favorite character in the DC universe, which is Batman. Yeah, this shows you what kind of a person he is. And this makes me like him even less. They definitely chose the wrong guy to lead DC. He is going to burn the house down. Let's take a look at some of these comments. So this was a comment that James Gunn had, and I'm not going to read this one. Well, yeah, I'll read it. I'll just leave out the one word I don't really want to say. But this is in regards to somebody who had talked about Jack Nicholson having more talent than James Gunn himself. And he said, oh yeah? And and this is James Gunn saying this, back to this guy. Oh yeah? And Jack Nicholson as the Joker is Jack Nicholson in The Shining with shitty clown makeup. F you. Everyone involved with that travesty. Wow. This was 11 years ago, but this is what James Gunn said. Oh, and it gets worse. And this is what bothers me, these kinds of remarks. You know, this is about a beloved character in the DC franchise, and a lot of people back both of these people, but James Gunn goes on to say, A, Keaton did have a ridiculous voice. That said, I'd rather put up with a ridiculous voice than with horrible action sequences and acting barely worthy of the Batman TV show. B, I have no idea how you can think that the Burton Batman has more similarities with Moore and Miller's Batman and Joker than Nolan's does. And listen, I have problems with both of Nolan's films. I don't think that either one is classic, and I don't even really think Batman Begins is good, but they are far superior to the first Batman. See, none of your defenses get by the fact that, despite being the first cinematic dark take on Batman, so what? Stallone's Judge Dredd was the first dark take on Judge Dredd. The movie is awful. These are some pretty strong words, and with the way he laid this out, he's thought about this at length before. There's no question about it. Well, I could go on and tell you how crappy Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad is. Garbage compared to both of these franchises or both of these films. So James Gunn shouldn't be talking out in regards to these types of things. But this isn't all that he said. This is also around that same time. He said the Tim Burton Batman is poorly written. The soundtrack is the worst work of everyone involved. And it is absolutely one of the most boring films ever. Not only that, but the reveal of the Joker as the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents spits in the face of Batman's origin and is a nullification of the bottomless thirst for vengeance that necessarily drives Batman. It pretends not to be campy, but is completely so. And on top of everything, the dark creature of the night can't even move his effing neck. Give me an effing break. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, awful film. Burton's Planet of the Apes is genius in comparison. Oh, guys, come on. You know, anybody who defends this guy at this stage, there's got to be something. I'm not even going to say it, all right? This is ridiculous. This is the guy they chose to lead DC. And if you think about the comments he made here and what happened at the end of the Flash movie, and I am going to do some spoilers here, so if you haven't seen the Flash movie, you don't want to listen to this next part. In the Flash movie, Michael Keaton's Batman does die at the end. And unnecessarily. I mean, if you watch the movie, the whole sequence was just asinine because there's no way that Batman is going to win against a Kryptonian. It's just not going to happen, especially one-on-one like he did. And in the end, he didn't even kill the Kryptonian that he was beating on. And it was a cool-looking sequence, but to what end? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And then they kill him off. And no one will ever be able to convince me that James Gunn isn't the one that made that happen. Because we already knew that a Batgirl film was coming and that Michael Keaton was going to be in the Batgirl film, along with Ben Affleck. They were both going to be a part of the Batgirl film. And then you have The Flash come out and you find out he died. James Gunn made that decision when he came on. We knew there were things that were done to these films to change them to meet James Gunn's future vision. And the way that he talked about Tim Burton's Batman, yeah, it's easy to see why he wanted him dead in the universe. It's disgusting. This is the guy that they chose to run the DC universe. Now, Gunn has been pretty silent again on social media. I'm hoping that there is a day of reckoning coming for Warner Brothers Discovery and James Gunn. I personally now hope that nothing James Gunn will do in the future will ever see the light of day at DC. I hope this man disappears into oblivion, never to be seen in Hollywood again. That coupled with some of the other things he's talked about. And like I said, I'm trying to view him based on what he does movie-wise and when he talks about movie-wise, not his personal life. And if I mix his personal life into this, somebody in my comments yesterday said that they lost respect for me because I won't even talk about that aspect of it. And again, I'm not here to judge people personally, but I sure will judge him as a filmmaker, as a writer, as the head of DC. Absolutely. Because I've been reviewing movies and TV shows my entire life, and yeah, I'm going to call this crap out. And this is, no question about it, this is crap. All right, guys, so what do you guys think about these revelations that are now coming out? And they're from 11 years ago. And more stuff seems to be coming out of the woodwork in regards to this guy. And I really hope with the failure of Blue Beetle and the fact that James Gunn had put his name on it right before it got released, that Warner Brothers Discovery will finally see what is happening and that they will change course and that they will do it very soon. That coupled with my last video and David Ayer talking about how the studios, there's a podcast with him and John Bernthal, I believe. I don't know how you say his last name, Bernthal. And he talked about how the fight with the studio during that period of making the Suicide Squad film just totally beat him down. It was demoralizing. And that goes to show you just how nasty Warner Brothers was. Like, it was bad. That coupled with everything that happened on the Justice League reshoot and what all the actors and everyone said. I mean, we had Ben Affleck getting ready to commit suicide over this stuff. This is the studio. This is the studio that owns the rights to these characters. And then we have someone like James Gunn come in who was doing this kind of stuff. They're out of their freaking minds. All right, guys. There's my DC update for the day. Let me know your thoughts below, and we will see you on the next video.